In the twilight years of the united monarchy, the air in the royal palace hung heavy with the scent. Quiet whispers of impending change filled the halls. King David, the legend, lay frail upon it. His breathing was shallow, weighted by a lifetime. The kingdom held its breath, anxious to know the heir. Shadows of ambition lurked in every corner of the court. David's eyes, though dimmed, found clarity. He was guided by the divine whisper from his youth. He summoned the prophet Nathan, a man of stern faith, and Bathsheba, whose love had once shaken. With a trembling hand, David pointed to Solomon. Solomon was chosen not for might, but for his speech. The decree was signed, and the shofar blasted. Solomon was now the anointed king of Israel. The mantle passed from a warrior father to a son of peace. Solomon ascended the steps to the ivory throne. He felt the heavy gaze of the tribes upon him. He carried the legacy of a blood-stained crown. Seeking to sanctify his rule, Solomon traveled. The ancient tabernacle stood under the vast desert sky. The smoke of 1,000 offerings rose into the night. A pillar of devotion bridged the gap to the divine. That night, the boundaries of reality dissolved. A voice like rushing waters asked him what he desired. Solomon felt the immense weight of ruling. He did not ask for the heads of his enemies. He did not ask for gold or a long life. He bowed his head and whispered a plea for understanding. He asked for a mind to discern good from evil. The request pleased the Lord, showing a heart without. God promised wisdom unlike any man before. God also granted him wealth and honor beyond. Solomon awoke with the dawn, his mind sharp as a blade. He returned to Jerusalem, where his gift was soon. Two women from the lower quarters were dragged before his throne. Their voices were shrill with grief and accusation. One clutched a living infant tightly to her chest. The other wept with empty arms, claiming the child. The court fell silent as the tragic story unfolded. A tale of a midnight smothering and a desperate switch. With no witnesses, the truth seemed lost in the Solomon sat motionless, scanning the faces. He looked past their words into their frantic hearts. He commanded a guard to bring a shining sword. The crowd gasped in horror at the king's order. He ordered the living child to be cut in two. The sword was raised, singing through the tense air. The true mother screamed for the executioner to stop. She begged for the boy to be given to her rival. The liar, consumed by bitterness, shouted. She declared neither should have him if she could not. Solomon raised his hand, halting the executioner. The truth was laid bare for all to see. He ordered the child given to the first woman. Her sacrifice was the undeniable seal of. A murmur of awe rippled through the hall and streets. The people realized their king spoke with God's wisdom. Solomon then initiated the construction of the. He formed an alliance with Hiram, king of Tyre. Fine cedar would floated down the coast on great rafts. Quarries echoed with the sound of chisels and hammers. Laborers cut massive stones to perfection. Inside, the air was thick with gold dust. Artisans carved cherubim and palm trees on cedar wood. Bronze pillars rose as sentinels at the temple entrance. After 7 years, the glory of the Lord descended, a cloud so thick the priests could not stand. The fame of Solomon's kingdom traveled across trade. The Queen of Sheba heard tales she thought were exaggerated. Driven by curiosity, she organized a map. She arrived in Jerusalem with gold, stones. It was a spectacle of color, sound, and exotic. She sat with the king, peppering him with riddles. Solomon answered every query, unraveling. He revealed knowledge of botany, architecture, she praised the God of Israel and gifted him gold. The kingdom entered a golden age of silver and yet the seeds of downfall were sown in his heart. Solomon began to collect wives from pagan nations. He violated the ancient laws of the Torah. 700 wives and 300 concubines. They brought idols and customs from foreign lands. As years passed, Solomon's heart began to drift. He built high places for Chemosh and Molech. It was a stench in the nostrils of the Almighty. Wisdom was clouded by lust and compromise. The king became a stranger to the God who crowned him. God's anger burned, and divine protection fractured. Enemies rose up from the dust and raided borders. The prophet Ahijah tore his cloak into 12. He prophesied the tearing of the kingdom to Jeroboam. Solomon spent his final years in the shadow of paranoia. In his study, he penned his final, somber reflection. He saw his achievements as vapor, chasing after. He wrote that without God, all endeavor is mean. He concluded the whole duty of man is to fear God. King Solomon slept with his fathers in the city of David. He left a legacy as complex as his life is a monument to potential and frailty. Wisdom is not a possession, but a path to walk. The words of the teacher call us back to true meaning. Please subscribe and like to keep these stories alive.